Welcome into Patriots Now. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. Don't lie, you were panicking. The Patriots were 1-2 and you were panicking. It's okay, you can admit it because now you're probably feeling pretty confident. We're on to week 7 and the Pats are fresh off a thrilling win over the previously undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, and it was a big one. We hope you took the over. The score of this one, 43-40 good guys. Tom Brady going 24 for 35 for 340 yards and a touchdown. And Sony Michel once again having a monster night, finishing with 24 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Gronk, the man, the myth, the legend, only catching 3 passes but making them count, finishing with 97 yards. I mean, come on, check out this stiff arm. Gronk looking like a man among boys. The move certainly got Tom Brady's attention.
Gronk, you can line up however you want. You keep stiff arming people like that. Let's go.
So the guys improved to 4-2, and it was a good night for all fans except for maybe one guy. Yep, and not the most intelligent move we've ever seen. Fans flipped off Chiefs star Tyreek Hill after he found the end zone, and a 21-year-old man tossed a beer on him. Well, we hope that fan has a comfy couch because he'll be watching Pats games from the comfort of his home for the rest of his life. The fan receiving a letter of disinvite to all future events at Gillette Stadium. Thanks, guy. I remember my first beer. As if the rest of the world needed another reason to hate Boston fans because, I mean, as we humbly point out, there's been a whole lot of winning going on here lately. And if you're not from the area, that must be obnoxious. The Celtics taking on the 76ers on opening night at TD Garden, and the team getting some help from hype man Julian Edelman. Yep, the C's won. Meanwhile, the Red Sox facing the Astros in the ALCS, the guys had a message to their fellow Boston athletes.
Good luck, Red Sox. Kick some butt out there while we are too. I got this jersey sent to me. I'm ready to go, baby. Let's go.
Sakis, I need you guys to do this. It's going to be very important for us. As a city, as one, Brock, Cycle, we want another one.
Mookie, we love you, man. What do you think?
Let's go, fellas. Let's go. We need you. I'm going to keep this in here, in my locker.
But I'm glad they won. That was pretty cool. And so when do they play? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
At home?
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool. Boston's got it pretty good right now.
Yeah, not a bad time to be in New England. The Pats trying to put icing on the cake with a win on Sunday afternoon against the Bears. So let's take a look at how these two teams match up. You know how the Bears were pretty terrible for the past 4 years? Well, now they're actually looking pretty good. The team is 3-2 and sits atop the AFC North. Quarterback Mitch Trubisky has looked very solid in his last 2 games, throwing for 316 yards and 3 touchdowns in Week 6 against Miami, and the game before that against Tampa Bay, throwing for 354 yards and 6 touchdowns. Yes, 6 touchdowns. Yes, Mitchell Trubisky throwing 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, really good playmakers, very consistent. Amos and Jackson are both, very solid. They work well together. And I think their secondary in general is very talented. Got a good group of linebackers. Roquan Smith's playing really well. High pick. Danny Trevathan, I've always thought he was a great player. And then you had Mack and Floyd. Akeem Hicks, really stout front. This is the best defense we've played in a long time. So we're going to have to go and play really well on the road. And we talked a lot about playing on the road this week and kind of what we need to do to get a win. We haven't played very well on the road this year. And we're going to need to play a lot better than we played the first 2 times on the road in order to win.
We're sure you have some questions ahead of this week, and we don't blame you. For that, we bring in Doug Kyde, who is addressing some of the most pressing matters in this week's mailbag.
Hello and welcome to this week's mailbag. I'm Doug Kyde. If you have a question for me, tweet it to me at Doug Kyde using the hashtag MailDog, and I'll answer it on Friday morning. First question here comes from Jono Thorpe Jazz, who asks, think the Pats will make any more trades by the deadline? If yes, who? It's going to be very difficult for the Patriots to make a trade this trade deadline, which is coming, I guess, in a couple of weeks now, because the Patriots have so little cap room. They only have about $1.6 million in cap room. They actually need some of that money just for the end of the season. In case any players go on injured reserve, they would have to sign a new player. In case guys come off of injured reserve, then their salaries increase. Also, the Patriots have some not likely to be earned incentives that could be earned this season, and that would increase the Patriots salary cap. So it would have to be a very low budget player for the Patriots to acquire. So at this point, I'd probably guess no, but the Patriots can do some shimmying of the cap and see if it works out. But like I said, my guess would be no at this point. Second question comes from @Weakest, Weakest. I don't know what the last name is. Is the team satisfied by the play of Adrian Claiborne? Seems like he's been pretty quiet for a relatively big acquisition. I think the Patriots are pleased with him because he's playing, and he did make some impact plays on Sunday night against the Chiefs. He actually forced 2 third-down incompletions with some pressures, but he doesn't have a sack on the season. And with the amount that they're paying him, with the hype that came in with him, he had, I think, 6 or 7 sacks in a game last year for the Falcons. I think the Patriots were probably expecting more out of him from a pass rush perspective. So obviously there is still a lot of time left in the season for him to get some of those sacks, and he has cured some of the issues that were kind of plaguing him early in the season when he was running past quarterbacks. He's not doing that anymore. He is getting some pressure. He is forcing some bad plays out of the opposing team, but sacks are very valuable, and the Patriots definitely need more sacks. They only have 7 sacks in their first 6 weeks of the season, and they were blanked in the sack department on Sunday night against the Chiefs.
Thank you, Doug. So at this point in the fantasy football season, I've already given up. My team is horrible, and we have no shot at winning. But don't let that be you. Here's Darren Hartwell with this week's fantasy football advice.
Thanks, Rachel. This should be a pretty fascinating matchup from a fantasy perspective, considering the Bears supposedly have a stout defense, but just allowed 31 points to Brock Osweiler and the Miami Dolphins. Let's get right into the starts and sits. I'm rolling with Tom Brady, who's put up 20-plus fantasy points in every game since Josh Gordon arrived. I also like Rob Gronkowski against the Bears defense that's allowed a tight end to score in 4 consecutive weeks. Chicago does have a pretty stout run defense, but I'm giving the green light to both Sony Michel and James White, who each have scored at least 11 fantasy points in 3 consecutive games. At wide receiver, I'm starting Julian Edelman, but I'm still holding off on Josh Gordon for 1 more week. Gordon's role in this offense is steadily increasing, but it's increasing from just 42 yards on 5 catches last week, so I think his ceiling against Chicago is around 60 catches for 60-ish yards, making him a borderline play. Looking at the Bears, I do like QB Mitchell Trubisky against the Patriots defense that's allowed 15 passing touchdowns, tied for 2nd most in the NFL. At running back, I'm starting Tariq Cohen over Jordan Howard, as Howard has had ball control issues, and Chicago may have to throw more to keep pace with New England's offense. Finally, I'm also firing up tight end Trey Burton, as well as receivers Allen Robinson and Taylor Gabriel. I'm Darren Hartwell, and that's your Fantasy Football Minute from Foxborough.
And now for a look at the injury report ahead of Sunday. A lot of guys limited in practice this week, including Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, Sony Michel, and Rob Gronkowski. But of note, Marcus Cannon did not participate in practice. He is dealing with concussion symptoms that knocked him out of the win over the Chiefs, so his status for Sunday's game is very much in doubt. If he is in fact not able to play, swing tackle LeAdrian Waddle will likely start in his place. Meanwhile, the big name for the Bears, Khalil Mack. He is dealing with an ankle injury suffered in Sunday's loss to the Dolphins, and his status for Sunday is currently up in the air. That about does it for this episode of Patriots Now. Thanks for tuning in. But before we go, we leave you with this heartfelt video of the passing of the Madden torch from 2018 cover athlete Tom Brady to 2019's guy, Antonio Brown. Try not to tear up.
All right, AB, it's on to you, bro.
You had a good run, Tom. Game time is 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. We'll be there. Keep it locked in on NESN.com for all of your Patriots news. Go Pats!